Okay, so next class we have a test coming up. Some things you might need to review. Things like that. It's been a few weeks. There's a couple of ways we can go about it. Many of you are probably taught that since this is addition here, you just drop the parentheses and combine like terms, and that does work. Technically, what you're doing is you're adding these just like you would any whole number. So write out the first one, 3x squared minus 9x minus 7. And you line up the like place values. So the 5x squared under the 3x squared, positive 13x under the negative 9x, the negative 12 under the negative 7. The 1's with the 1's, x's with the x's, x squareds with the x squareds. And we are adding down the columns. We do have to be careful of the negatives. Negative 7 plus negative 12 is a negative 19. Negative 9 plus 13, positive 4x. And 3 plus 5, 8x squared. Of course, this one is subtraction. We're going to set it up the same way. 3x squared plus 4x minus 13. And we're going to line them up. 8x squared goes with the other x squareds. Negative 11x goes with the 4x. Positive 5 goes under the negative 13. But now we are subtracting down the columns. So this is where we really have to be careful of our negatives. Negative 13 minus 5 is negative 18. 4 minus a negative 11 is positive 15x. 4 minus a negative 11 is 4 plus a positive 11. 3 minus 8 is negative 5x squared. Look familiar? Yeah, good. You might run into things like this. See the parentheses? There's nothing to do in either set of parentheses. So we have to look at what we're going to have to do to the parentheses. This one is times 6x to the third. 6x to the third times 5x squared. You multiply the counts. 6 times 5 is 30. X to the third times x squared. Add the powers, x to the fifth. 6x to the third times 7x. 6 times 7, positive 42. X to the third times x. X to the fourth, good. Over here, the parentheses are not times 2x squared, it's times negative 2x squared, good. So negative 2x squared times 3x to the third. Negative 2 times 3, negative 6. X squared times x to the third, x to the fifth. Negative 2 times negative 5, positive 10. X squared times x squared is, how did you say it, x to the fourth. Good. So now we're going to combine 30x to the fifth, negative 6x to the fifth. 30 and negative 6 make 24, x to the fifth. Remember, when we add or subtract, we keep the same name. 42x to the fourth and 10x to the fourth. positive 52x to the fourth. So there it is. You might run into something like that. I would set it up like this. Now I'd multiply. 7 times 4 is positive 28. 7 times negative 3x is negative 21x. 7 times negative 3x. 7 times 5x squared is 35x squared. Now we move over to the 3x. 3x times 4 is a positive 12x. Notice I'm lining that up with the other x. I could have put in a 0 here to push this over if I wanted to. 3x times negative 3x is a negative 9x squared. 3x times 5x squared is 15x to the third. And I'm just going to add each column. So 28 and 0. It's a positive 28. Negative 21x, positive 12x. Well, negative 21 and positive 12 make negative 9x. 35x squared, negative 9x squared. 35 and negative 9 make a positive 26x squared. 15x to the third. That's it. You'll have to be able to do calculations with decimals. One that I'm going to assume you guys can add, subtract, multiply, and divide without problems. The one that I will show you is something like this. 0.005 to the power of 4. Now the problem with that is when you punch it in your calculator, the calculator is most likely going to do this to you. Does anybody know what that means? That's scientific notation. That is saying 6.25 times 10 to the negative 10th. Which means you got to move this over 10 spots to the left. That's 1, and then you got to add zeros. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's where my decimal point would be. Or you could just do this. 5 to the power of 4 is 625, right? There's 3 decimal places. 3 decimal places times 4 means there's going to be 12 decimal places in my answer. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. When you raise it to a power, it multiplies the number of decimal places. I probably won't be quite that drastic to you on the test, but there's a good chance it's going to throw you into that scientific notation if you do the calculator. I'm not going to do any examples, but you will need to know how to convert a decimal into a fraction and a fraction into a decimal. A percent into a decimal or a fraction, or the other way around. You'll need to do calculations with percents. You know, like blank is 30% of 170, whatever, fill in the blank. Or word problems with percents. Any questions on percents? We just got done with those a little while ago. So, other word problems that we've looked at, like the length of a rectangle is 7 more than the width. The perimeter is 94. Find the length and the width. Here's length, here's width. You know, perimeter is 2 times the length plus 2 times the width. The key here is the length is 7 more than the width. So I'm going to define the length to be 7. It's not 7 times. We define that to be the width plus 7. 7 more than the width means you add 7 to it. And we'll just let the width be W. So plugging in here, the perimeter is 94. We know that. So it's 94. 2L is going to become 2 times. We're going to place L with W plus 7 plus 2W. Now we're going to solve that for W. Multiplying by 2 here, 2 times W is 2W. 2 times 7 is 14. Then we're going to combine 2W and 2W, make 4W plus 14. 94. And then subtract 14. 80 equals 4W. And then divide by 4. 20 equals W. What do you think? Okay. Also, word problems with discounts and markups, like we discussed on Tuesday and tonight. I might throw in one simple interest problem for fun, or possibly a commission, depending on which mood I'm in. Then the last thing you're going to need to be able to do solve equations with fractions and or decimals. For example, 2.1x minus 3.7 equals 5.3. How would we start to solve this? Add 3.7. So we got 2.1x equals 5.3 plus 3.7 is 9.0, or just 9. Then what do I have to do? Divide by 2.1. We get that x is what? 4.2857149 approximately. Okay, any questions? Or you might have something like this. What would we do with that? You could try to turn them into decimals, but the 2/3 would be 0.67. Improper fractions would work. We can do the operations just the way it is. We are going to have to do it 1 point turn, some of them in improper fractions, though. I would start out just by subtracting the 6.5, just like I would do with any other equation. So that leaves me with 2/3 x here. 18 3/4 minus 6.5. I'll leave you to verify this, but that's just 12 1/4. Now I have to divide by 2/3. 12 1/4 divided by 2/3. Again, I'll leave you to verify that's 18 3/8. Any questions? Some of them. Might get ugly, like this one. Tell me what I should do first. I'm going to simplify on the left side. I'm going to have to multiply the parentheses by the 5. Distribute the 5. 5 times 3x, 15x. 5 times -2 is -10, plus 7x. Now, before I move over to the right side, I'm going to keep combining here. I can combine the 15x and the 7x. Gives me 22x minus 10. So I've completely simplified what I can on the left side. On the right side, I've got my 2x. I'm going to do -3 times 4x is 12x. -3 times -6, positive 18, and plus 13. Now I'm going to combine what I can there. 2x and -12x is a -10x. 18 and 13 is 31. Now, I'm going to get rid of one of my x's. The -10x is the smaller one, so I add 10x. So 32x minus 10 equals 31. And then add 10. 32x equals 41. And then divide by 32. I get x equals. I can divide that out and get a decimal that's going to be 1.3 about 281, yeah. I don't know why I froze up there. But, or, let's say I want to leave that as a fraction. I can treat this division as though it is just a fraction. 41 over 32, I can take out one whole item with 9 pieces left over. So 1 and 9/32 if I want to leave it as a fraction. What do you think? One other type of one that I should show you. Ones that look like this, what do I have to do? Well, the key is really just in the first step. What do I do? Yeah, the whole side is divided by 3, so I'm going to multiply by 3 to get rid of that. So now the 3 is gone. I just have my 4x minus 7 here. Over here I got 7 times 3 is 21. And now I solve it like any other equation. I'll add 7. 4x equals 28. And I will divide by 4. X equals 7. Questions? Okay, if you want to stick around and review more for the test and ask me questions, you can, or if you have any more questions on any of those. Otherwise, the computer lab here is open. There is a new homework that is due next Tuesday. And there is a quiz Due tomorrow, Friday, by 11:59 p.m. There won't be any quiz next week, no. Actually, no quizzes at all next week. How many of you are planning on being gone that Tuesday before Thanksgiving? I just want to check. Some of my other classes are almost totally wiped out, so I just want to make sure. Okay, I will still be here. I will have class. Even if it's an empty room, I'm going to have to lecture and record them and post it. So if you are not here that Tuesday, there will be a quiz due the next day, that Wednesday. And there will be a homework due the following Tuesday. So make sure you at least pay attention to those. I will be lenient with that quiz. That quiz I might bump back to like the following Monday or something like that, so you can enjoy your. Well, it'd be nice to get it done before Thanksgiving, so you enjoy your Thanksgiving. Yeah. If you did corrections on it, I'll take it back. Otherwise, it's yours.